Hey everybody, Miss T here. I'm going to go over these notes that you all should have taken down in your notebook. I'm going to go skip over the definitions. You should have them written down because we'll refer to them throughout the PowerPoint. And I'm going to start right here with air pressure. So, what air pressure is just the amount of molecules in the atmosphere. If we have high air pressure, there are more air molecules floating around. If there's a low air pressure, there's less air molecules floating around. So if we take a look, the little box on the left with this little guy standing here, he's going through high air pressure because there's a lot more little gas or air molecules floating around him. A low pressure situation is when there's way less gas molecules floating around. So these little gas molecules, they always prefer to be in low pressure. So they always move from high pressure to low pressure. So when the pressure changes, the air moves. The air always wants to move from that high to low pressure. When the air moves, what do we feel? Wind. We feel those little gas molecules of air moving by us, touching us and breezing by us as they float by, trying to get to that lower pressure. So on a map, the pressure is shown through these things called isobars. So these lines on this map, this line is called an isobar, and it has this number 1008 on it. This number is telling us that this whole line represents 1008 millibars of pressure. This line just next to that one, oopsies, is 1012 millibars of pressure. So they kind of tell us exactly what's happening with the exact pressure. When these isobars are closer together, that means the pressure is changing really fast. So the further apart they are, that means it's not changing. But if they're closer together, the pressure is changing fast. That means it's going from, in this section, 1024, 1020, 1016, 1012 millibars of pressure in a really short distance. And that makes the wind stronger when it changes really fast. The air is going to move faster if the pressure changes faster. So this is called the pressure gradient force. When these lines are close and the pressure is changing fast, there's a greater pressure gradient force. That means the more the pressure changes in a certain space, the faster the wind is. So we have it right here, a quick note: faster wind equals greater pressure gradient force. So if we take a look at our map here, which spot would have the greatest wind speeds? Would it be between A and B, B and C, or C and D? It would be between B and C because these lines are closer together. These isobars are closer together. So now that brings us to these isobars represent entire pressure systems. So those air masses that we talked about earlier, they also have specific pressures that move along with them. So a whole system is like an air mass, but now we're including the pressure to it. So the definition of a low pressure system is just an air mass whose center is the lowest pressure in the region. So if we take a look right here, all these isobars are wrapped around this little spot right here. And if you notice, its pressure is the lowest. So we go from 1,000, 996, 992 to 988, all the way in the center of this pressure system. So a low pressure system has the lowest pressure at the center of all of the isobars. At the center, once you get to the middle of this pressure system, all of the air moves up from the surface of the Earth, and it moves up into the troposphere. Remember when we talked about how clouds form? It's generally when air moves up to the troposphere and it reaches that dew point and it starts to create clouds and it becomes rainy and stormy. So when you have a low pressure system is going to equal stormy, cloudy, rainy conditions. So low pressure systems, because the air is moving up at the center, is going to create storms, clouds, rain, and that kind of quote unquote unpleasant weather. So at the center of the air mass, this is what we will see, is the air is moving up. As it moves up, the clouds start to form. A high pressure system is where, when you look at the center of these isobars, the pressure is the highest. So here we go from 1008, 1012, 1016 to 1020. And this is the center of the high pressure system because the isobars, the pressure, increased as we reached the center. Here at the center of this air mass, or this air mass, both high pressure systems, if we take a look at the isobars, the air moves down at the center. So when the air moves down, you're not allowing the temperature to reach the dew point. There's no clouds forming. This is where we would get clear skies, sunny, nice weather. So the center of a high pressure system looks more like this. The air is moving downwards, the sun is out, there's no clouds, and you're generally going to have nice weather with a high pressure system. So take a second, read over these notes, listen to this Castify again if you need, and then try the Google form that we posted for you guys. Hope everybody's doing well. Good luck. Bye.